Hey everybody, welcome to another reading. This one is the reading for the month of September based in the King, Warrior, Magician, Lover house. I'll be directing your attention to some cards. You'll pick whichever one you feel led to, and then we'll get into it. I'll have timestamps so you can skip right to your deck and get your reading for September. Before I do that, I just want to let you know that my take on tarot is the same as I look at movies. And that might sound weird, but what it means is that when we go to a movie and maybe we're somebody who doesn't cry or doesn't get emotionally invested in things, there's something about a movie that allows us to connect with that. And all of a sudden we're like, why am I crying? But for me, it's a similar concept of tarot. You know, there is something outside of ourselves that is the focus of our attention. It's not an internal process, but it's a way to go in to the inside without feeling like our walls are up. You know, we're looking at these cards, we're feeling certain feelings, and we're thinking of things in a creative way, an intuitive way, and that will allow you, if you have the right perspective, to challenge certain beliefs or concepts or look at a situation from a new perspective. So that's the whole point of this. And when I do this, I often will use the word spirit. I like to be guided by spirit. That's just my vernacular. That's how I interact with these cards or interact with my own intuition. So don't let that throw you. You know, you can put whatever you want on it. God, spirit, source, whatever language you prefer. Don't let that be your hang up. Like, let's just get into the cards and see what the message is, what the story they're telling us about September, and see how it's going to impact you. And please leave behind whatever in this message isn't for you. Just don't resist it if it is. That's the key difference I want to make. So I'll direct your attention to the cards now. Now there is a stack of cards. I want you to look at these cards and I want you to see what your eye is being drawn to. Just to let you know, I'll put up the group numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And based on whatever is calling to you for whatever reason, whatever your gut says is the deck that you want to pick, go down to the timestamp and then we'll get to your reading. I will pull the cards live, so this is just the direction in which you want to go. Okay, so hopefully that's enough time. If not, pause it and just further contemplate. But here we go. We're going to start with group number 1. Okay, so let's get into this. Now, the first card I flipped over, this is your King House, Warrior, Magician, Lover. I'm going to do this one at a time just to get a sense of each house. And then I've got my deck over here that I'm going to pull about 5 more cards, unless something else comes up. Pull 5 more cards for one for each house, one more for each house, and then one that unifies it. I call it the Man in Full card, and that's going to be kind of the overarching energy of maybe where September's taking you or what you need to summon to make sure all of this goes in a favorable direction, because like in anything, it can go negative and it can go positive regardless of what we see in these cards. But right off the bat, in your King House, 10 of Cups. Now, the 10 of Cups is celebration. Is a celebration card. I mean, your King House in September is looking on point. Now, this doesn't mean that it is right now, but by the end of September or at the start of it, your King House is solid. So it's not saying that you have to worry about this, but what you should do is celebrate. Keep being creative. Keep organizing your chaos. Keep surfing those waves. Keep giving the blessing and being generous. So that's what this is. And you can see there's a, man and woman, look at what we've accomplished, so this could be a very reflective time for you to look back and say, look how far we've come. This could be a time where you look at, if you have children, you can look at the, how your children are growing, that they're happy children, or, you could be even fostering your own childlike spirit. And what I really see is that childlike spirit in yourself, potentially in other people. This spirit is one of play. So there is a creative energy, there is a playful energy, but the 10 signifies or denotes that it's the end of a cycle. So something has come to pass and you need to take the time to reflect on it and maybe get creative with it. Maybe if you don't flex into creativity, you miss it. So write down, journal, write a poem. I don't care what it is. Sing, a song that means something to you, and just celebrate this moment in time or celebrate what could be coming, because September might unfold and your king house might flourish. It looks like it's flourishing, or it will flourish. So let's see how that factors in with the rest of the houses. The warrior house is the Seven of Swords inverted. Seven of Swords is a transition. So this is a card of transition. It's not easy transition. When it's inverted, this either means that you're resisting transition or there is internal conflict with it. So in your warrior house, what this means to me is you're resisting change. You're resisting a call to adventure in the warrior house, and the warrior is decisive action. The warrior is boundary setting. The warrior is physical fitness. It's nutrition. It's of all of those things that require us to be decisive and to take, not extreme action. Sometimes it might be extreme, but to take action. And when we look at your king house, maybe this means that you're very creative, you're in flow state here, but part of the king energy is freedom. They love their freedom, and the opposite is true of the warrior. The warrior wants boundaries. So I'm really excited to see what your lover house has to say. I'm getting a vibe that this card is going to be a really interesting tie-in between these two houses. So we'll go into Magician and get some more clarity. The Magician is the World card inverted. The World card is an end of a cycle. So you have, in your king house, you have the end of a cycle. 10 is the end of a cycle. This card is, I believe, okay, so it's 21. So that's kind of, if you think of it this way, it's an end of a cycle, but it's the beginning of a new one. So when it's inverted, there is a message coming to me that's saying something is ended, but you're refusing to accept that it's over. Now, in the Magician house, this might mean competency. This might mean that you're hanging your hat on something, an achievement, a skill set, a knowledge set that you have gained great proficiency in, but you've gotten complacent in it. You don't realize that chapter in your life is over, and not that the thing is over, but this could also mean that the thing that you are proficient in needs to evolve and get better or be brought to the world. It needs to be brought out. And when we're looking at this building system here, I don't think it's your king house. I think you might need to build a skill set and intellect to fuel this warrior action. Maybe you don't know how to take the next step in your physical health, in your nutrition, in your boundary setting. And again, I'm really interested to see what this lover card has to say. But something in your Magician house is going to be, evolving. It's going to be growing because it's inverted. That means you're not accepting the end, but it's trying to occur. And in your lover house, we have the inverted Five of Cups. Okay, so I said that there was something interesting I felt in the lover house. And this is interesting. The Five of Cups is a cup of transition, just like the Six of Swords is a transition. Now, the sword is alluding to decisive action, but the cups, this person looks solemn and sad, and it's looking at all of the stuff that he's lost, right? All of the cups that are turned over, but there's still two cups in the back, and cups are emotional. Cups are spiritual. Cups are how we feel. Swords are how we think. So when we look at the inverted cups, what we have here is this interesting dynamic playing out about decision and feeling. So indecisive, you're not sure what the next step is or how to go about doing it. The Magician says, well, of course you're not aware because you don't have the intellect. You don't have the knowledge or the competence to make this happen. But the lover house is saying, we've been transitioning, like we're in a state of transition, but we don't have the emotional stability to do it, like to take that next step. So king house, solid so far. Really liking that. It's emotional, like you're coming to an end of a cycle. So what we're seeing develop is this is the future. This is where you end up. And this is where you start, which is half. It's 5. You're at the midway point of this journey. So that is really interesting because 5 is half of 10. 5 is the midway in your journey. 10 is the completion of it. So this journey very well starts in your lover house of your emotional well-being, investing in that, grieving what you have to grieve, but also accepting all that you have. This could be relationships that you have, as I am jumping ahead to your warrior house, because you need those relationships to support you through your emotional growth that you'll be taking on. That's where it starts, is your lover has to get emotionally resilient. This could be a lack of boundary setting too, that you need to set up some boundaries. You need to be in close relationship with trusted people so that you can express whatever you need to, so you can let that die, so you can let your intellect grow and realize that you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of competency to learn what you need to do in order to build that resiliency in your new adventure, because you're transitioning. It's painful. It's a painful transition. I mean, look, you can't even see the faces of these people. They're all covered up. They're grieving something. They're grieving the lack of competence, that what they're going to have to lose. You're going to have to lose in September. You're going to have to lose competence. You're going to have to lose a little bit of comfort in exchange for a little bit of grief. And you're also going to have to sacrifice quick, decisive action just to stay still for a little bit, to then regrow that warrior house. And then you will take action. And if you take that action, it looks like your king house is going to thrive. And it might be that's where you need your magic, is to get creative in how you're doing this. So now I want to pull a couple of clarifying cards within each house. So first we'll start with your king, then go to the warrior, and then we're going to go to the magician and lover. So first, king house, the 2 of cups. The 2 of cups is a card that really means love and partnership. So cups in your king house, this really speaks to relationship, partnerships, and emotional, spiritual health. This is balance. This is balance between your masculine and feminine, your assertiveness and your compassion, which makes sense because we have all of that within us. We have both of those energies. And so for your king house is healthy expression within healthy relationship. Jumping back to your lover, we know that there's a shakeup there. But this very well is speaking to me as this is where you're going. This is where September almost ends for you, is balanced, good relationship, the feeling of confidence to express yourself. And those are really great things. The development of play, there's going to be some joy in September for you. That's the end goal. This is where you thrive. This is where you have stability, is in your king house. So let's jump down to the warrior, which was a little bit unstable in the sense that it's inverted and it's about transition. So maybe we'll get some clarity on what that transition is, what the resolution of it is. We'll just have to see. And we get the 3 of wands. So the 3 of wands, again, is transition. And now I'm really excited to see what your magician is, because this card is, he's got a red cloak on, which is passion, which is, drive, it's worldly experience. And he is leaving behind all the planning because he's planned enough. This is the cycle. So you have the transition of decisive action to make a change. Now you have the knowledge, which is why I'm excited to see your magician house, to see what happens there. But this is right side up. This means you're ready to go if you do all of this. And let's go to your magician to see maybe what that progress is, what it is that you learn or sacrifice or surrender, whatever, to empower you to see all that is lying ahead. Well, okay. Again, perfect. The 2 of wands. So I'm really doing this reading in reverse. It's like revealing the ending of the book and then working back to the beginning. And that's really cool because the magician, like I said, is the world card. He's holding the world in his hand. And he's looking out at all the obstacles that lie in his way, just like in the 3 of wands, which is the next card. So right now, what I'm seeing is that surrendering of your intellect, of the competencies that you know, to realize you don't know what you don't know, and then to start learning it, because the Two of Wands is all about that. It's all about learning. You have new vision, you have new creative inspiration, you realize that something needs to change, and now you're changing it. And so when we get to your Warrior, the decisive action was that sacrifice of intellect, of what you know, and realizing there's more to learn. And then the Three of Wands is like, I know the obstacles, I know the way, I can take it, and I'm ready to take cautious action forward. This is a process of evolution. This is even if it's exercising, right? Like, you don't just go throw 300 pounds on the bench press and lift it. This is conscious, cautious action, but it's in a positive direction. So now we'll go to your Lover house, since this seems to be where everything's originating on this journey. What is the Lover, what is it telling us about these cups? Okay. The Five of Wands. This is struggle. This is conflict. This is potentially the source of where your September is kind of funky. I like to think of this card as, fighting against people you shouldn't fight against. This is, a lack of being able to protect your space. This is a lack of boundaries. This is just a free-for-all, and it's all for nothing. So they're striving and struggling for nothing. And this Lover, look at that. He's empty. His cups are knocked over. This could be the aftermath of the fight, as you've lost something. You've lost emotional health. You're tired. You're burnt out, and you need to self-care. You need to invest in yourself with people who aren't going to fight you, who have the best interests in your heart, that want to help you, creatively. They don't want to fight you and bash you down, but maybe that's what's been happening to you because you haven't had the ability to boundary set. So this adventure for you is very much one of, maybe August was a bunch of conflict for you. Maybe the start of September, you're going to find some allies and friends that you thought were friends that end up kind of not being, and leaving you a little bit like emotionally spent. Like, you don't have the capacity to hold space with people. So you need to fill up your own cup. And that adventure starts there, and it goes into your accepting of like, where did I go wrong? Where am I going wrong? Let me look at my competencies and see what I need to change, what I need to reinvest in. How do I need to continue to learn so that I can then go out? I think I accidentally inverted this. Anyway, so you can go out into your Warrior house and take action, set the boundaries, because they're not being set right now. Obviously, they're not being set in some way, and it's damaged you. It's hurt you. It's left you depleted. But if you do realize and get rid of those relationships, take stock of what you still have, because there's still 2 cups standing, and then go and learn. Go and develop and educate yourself with, really, it could be any physical, any mental, emotional, spiritual development, any creative, whatever it is that you feel confident in but have gotten complacent in, needs to be looked at, because it's trying to end what you currently know and elevate. And if we do that, we have all the knowledge, you have all the knowledge to take that next step forward. And if you do so, you have balance. You have enough emotional intelligence and enough in your cup that you can share, that you can collaborate. And that is the opposite of this card. Conflict to collaboration. That's where I feel like your September journey is. And we'll do one more card. This could be the result. This could be the energy that is needed. What does Spirit need to say? This, okay. We'll do that. The Hanged Man is your unifying card, is your Man in Full card. Now, the Hanged Man is all about self-sacrifice and is all about new perspective. This spread, unified by this card, confirms what I was saying. Sacrifice the self of your competency. Let go of the relationships that aren't serving you so that you can see where your next move is going. You have to gain that perspective. You have to slow down. You have to sacrifice some of your competence. You have to sacrifice and get rid of some of the relationships that aren't serving you in September so that you can invest in the ones that are, so that you can recognize that this cycle of intellect, of competency is coming to an end and is ready for the next evolution, ready to be reinvested in, so that you can see what difficulties lie ahead and then take action on them, decisive action of transition. And if you do, you will go from conflict to collaboration because you see things differently. You see the truth. You invest in yourself. You have the emotional cups, the spiritual cups full because of this journey, because of new perspectives, because you sacrifice yourself for ways and things that are actually helping your journey. Not to be a martyr, but to sacrifice so that you can grow and so that you can fill your own cups up, so that you have the emotional health to hold space and to find joy within the relationships that are in your life because of everything you've sacrificed, of recognizing the difficulties you've been through, but not losing sight of all that you have and how you're moving the ball forward. So let's send you off with a couple other cards. I like to send you off with a spirit animal as well as some elder wisdom. So like I think of this, the spirit animal is an energetic force that wants to offer you their support as you journey. Let's see who you are. The Cobra. All right. The thing that I love about this card is it confirms this right here. It also brings clarity in this conflict too. The Cobra energy, to explain, is if it's out of balance, it's egocentric, it is a know-it-all. If in balance, it is a student of life. It is an inner wisdom seeker. So I believe that the wisdom and the energy this Cobra wants to bring to you on this adventure is self-learning. So the Cobra is also about pausing and waiting and taking time. And it's that old adage of when the student is ready, a teacher will appear. So the Cobra wants you to wait, to pause, to reflect, to forget the ego, to drop what you think you know and realize there's a lot you don't know. And this is the call. He is going to help you figure out those things through that inner wisdom, through that seeking for teaching. See the self-learner, the patient one, the humble one. And if you can do that, you, my friend, will have a fantastic September, or an end to your September. Also, let's pull some elder wisdom from the ancestral knowledge. Like, this is a fun one because who doesn't want a little ancestral help, right? Who wants to join you? Who wants to join Group 1 on this journey of September? Calling the elder wisdom, calling the spirit. All right, you're up. Peacekeeper. And I don't know if you can read it, but the caption says, "Let go of the need to be right." This is beautiful wisdom, isn't it? This further clarifies the potential of the conflict that occurred might be because you need to be right. Or you continued the conflict because you need to be right. And you need to let go of that. And recognize that in September, you don't need to be right. You need to be a learner. So this transition is grieve your need to be right. Grieve what you think you know that you've maybe don't have to continue to learn, and find what it is you need to learn. Because there's something that is telling you to slow down and learn so that you can be prepared and ready for all that's coming. And it's a really positive end of September. I don't know if the conflict is here already or if it's going to hit in September, but that's what I'm seeing, is conflict in your lover house because you've established poor boundaries, but more so that boundary of you don't know it all. It needs to be set like you don't know it all. and you're robbing yourself of an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to flourish. So hopefully there's some things in there that are helpful to you. I feel very positive about this and excited for you to come through this September, because I just see growth potential, and with a little bit of conflict. And I mean, that's going to happen, right? So thank you. And we're going to jump on to group number 2. See what we have for you, group number 2, with your King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. All right, King, Warrior, Magician. One more for Lover. You know, the first 3 coming out pretty fast like that. We'll see what that means, because that isn't not unimportant. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into your reading. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this one at a time, just to kind of get a reflection on each house, and then after we'll see how they all talk together, and then I'll pull a few more cards to clarify each house, as well as a unifying card. Okay, the first is the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, so the 6 of Pentacles in your King house is a card of generosity. It's also potentially, I mean, that's what I'm feeling for you is a call to generosity. It's, you have abundance, you have growth, you have that energy that is something calling you to service. You know, this is calling you to express what you know. There is a gift that you have that is ready to be given. That's why these pentacles are like ripe off the branches. It's also, on the opposite, it can mean that you need to open and receive that from somebody else. And even if that's not you, you also, while you bestow your wisdom, while you give the blessing and serve somebody, some group, something, you also have to recognize that there will come a time where you need to be served because you're struggling. But September doesn't look like that time. September looks like the time that you give out of what you have to support those around you. And in your Warrior house, we have the 8 of Wands. Now, the 8 of Wands is a card of, it's fast. I mean, this is like a lightning strike, right? But it's creativity as well. This is potentially a new creative idea. This is something you need to take action on. This is also your call to be flexible or adaptable. So in your Warrior house, something is shifting, and it's going to be sudden in September. Something is suddenly going to hit you, a divine inspiration, an incredible passion, you know, because we get these ideas, right? Like we get these moments of inspiration where this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, or this is the action I need to take. And sometimes that burns out, but not for you in September. In your Warrior house, there is boundary setting. There is, you know, physical transformation. There is action that is going to be inspired quickly, and you need to take it. And you need to take action on it because it's there and you need to grab it fast. Otherwise, it's going to miss again, and it will come back to you. It's just going to take a long time for that opportunity to resurface, that inspiration, that passion, that drive to resurface. So now is the time to act in your Warrior house. And in the Magician house, we got the 3 of Cups. Now, the 3 of Cups is a card of connection. This is a card of celebration. So this is so far turning out to be a really positive and exciting spread for you because you have your King house flourishing. You're serving. You're going to serve. If you're not serving now, you're going to serve. And maybe you start serving once that physical, visceral, this inspiration that I feel is going to be smashing into you at some point in September comes to fruition. And that's what's going to happen, is it's going to lead you to serve through physical means. It's not going to be passive. This is going to be very active for you. And that Magician house, you know, is a point of celebration. This speaks to me from the spiritual aspect. Now, the Magician house doesn't have to be spiritual, but I'm reading it as spiritual. It's coming together, you know, with people who, you know, enliven your soul and cause you to question things in a very spiritual, metaphysical kind of way. This shows me that your Magician house will be flourishing, but it's really speaking to me spiritually. It's getting in touch with that spiritual element. And the Lover, the 3 of Swords. Now, in your Lover house, this is a card of grief. This is mental anguish. This is a bit of suffering. And when we look at that in the lover house, that can mean any number of things, right? Like this could mean the grief that needs to occur from past traumas through relationships. This could be old ideas. This could be, very much the call to action being you need to grieve the idea that everyone likes you and is going to like you when you do this thing that is, it's coming in hot. Whatever this thing is in your warrior house, this decisive action, this new call to adventure, it's going to strike. And when it does, you're going to have to grieve the way you've been living, the way people think about you, because in your spiritual house, you're strong, and that can be a little bit uncomfortable. Like your spirituality might make people uncomfortable, but it's good. Like this creates relationship. This creates hope and love and emotional fulfillment for yourself and those around you as you're in service, using your resources, which could be your intellect or financials. You're serving people, you're with people, you're getting inspired, and you're letting go of that thing that prevents you from getting this divine spark. So you're going to be called to let go of some stuff when this happens, and it's going to be painful. But you have what it takes because you're spiritually fulfilling yourself. You're meditating. You're going to church. You're going to the spiritual practice call. You're going to wherever you need to, going to nature to just chill out and appreciate the sunset. You're doing those things to connect deeper to a spiritual world, and that's going to allow you to serve. So what I want to do is pull some more clarifying cards, one for each house, plus one, a unifying card, a man in full card that ties it all together, that shows kind of the result or the overarching theme and the need for this whole process to occur. Oh, my warrior wants to come out too. Let's think magician. Let's go to the magician while we're at it. Oh, magician. There you are. And lover. Just feeling like doing them all right now. Lover. Don't run away. There we go. Okay. So, let's go. King, this was, as I said before, this was service. So let's get a little more clarity maybe on what that means. The Chariot. The Chariot is a card of action, of taking action, of using intuition, of guiding things through gentility, not through forcing action. But what this means to me in your King house, when you're serving, you're also going to be doing it in a way that isn't controlling. It isn't damaging. You have the compassion of a true king, and a king does not rule with the iron fist in this case. The king is giving blessing, but it's very active. You're going out and doing this, and you will be able to balance that duality. You have the moon and the sun, which is mystery and knowledge, which is giving me a message that you will not be deceived. If there is illusion behind, in front of you that you're not sure if this is what you're supposed to do, you will know after that contemplation, because I think you've invested in your spiritual practice, so you have a better sense of your inner knowing and your intuition. But take action, and it will benefit. And in your warrior house, this also mirrors your lover at the start of it. This is death. Death is not scary. It can be painful. But death is the call to transformation. When the bird dies, it goes back into the earth and becomes something new. And so when this divine spark of inspiration hits you in your warrior house, something's going to have to die. And we already saw that in the lover house, but something is going to have to die. It's really a call to transformation. And I'm seeing such and feeling such a positive vibe from this, that if you do grieve these things, if you let those things die, the new way September unfolds for you is going to be incredible. Jumping to your magician house, we have the Seven of Wands. Now, this is a card of conflict. This is a card of struggle, of perseverance, of being the light in the dark. In this deck, it doesn't always look like this, but what it's intuitively telling me, what message from Spirit I get, is since it's in your magician house, and we already know that the sunrise is coming, like these birds are looking at the sun, the cups are saying relationships and emotional health. If we add to that, maybe you're the sun in this card. That this message, we have the sun, we have the fire. this makes me think this is you, the light and the darkness. And this is a little bit uncomfortable for people. I feel like this can be repellent, you know, in a way that shock is. Anything that's new and scary is going to make people kind of back off a little bit. But I see you as emotionally balanced, connected spiritually, and leading people. Maybe that's what this is. I mean, we have light, we have sun and moon. Moons being the mystery of the spiritual realm. So what is evolving here is service in a spiritual way. I feel like out of the abundance of your spiritual growth, you will be able to shine a light for people who don't quite have that spiritual growth, that are on the path but still just starting. So using your spiritual desire, your spiritual knowledge, and that growth is going to require sacrifice from you, is going to require death of old ideas and ways of being as this new divine spark comes in. And maybe this divine spark, what I'm getting is this wand, and it's starting that on fire. So that spark is going to light a fire in you, and you're going to lead and serve people, and it's going to make them a little bit nervous at first, but it will prosper as you find those people who are really there to learn from you. And the lover house is the 3 of Wands. Okay, so here we go. 3 of Wands in the lover house. The threes are mirrored. So this is about grieving something. And this is about taking action. And that action is one that says, I have done the research, I have looked at it, I have put in the people in my life that I need that are going to support me and believe in me to help me fill my cups up. So as this new idea comes into being and people don't like me because of it, I have people. I've let go of the people who don't serve me. I've put around the healing triangle of the people who care about me, that are going to help me protect my inner beauty, my inner spark, that which makes me special. And this lightning bolt is trapped within here. It starts to stick, it starts you on fire, and then it's held tight and safe in close relationship and trusted relationship, because you've let go and cut through all of that garbage that was holding you back in the past. Now I want one more card on the tarot before I get the spirit guides. And I just want to kind of get an overall sense of, you know, where this is all leading, or, you know, what the general vibe of this is, or what's holding you back. And we got Justice inverted. So I'm going to show it to you upright, but it was inverted. Now, Justice is a card that's pretty self-explanatory. It's about getting what you deserve. It's about the right thing happening, but inverted, it can mean dishonesty. It can mean self-doubt. And what comes up in me, what feeling I get when I put an inverted Justice card on this spread, is in the Man in Full card, in the unifying card position, the Man in Full card is a warning that for all of this to happen, for all of it to come to fruition for your highest good, for September to be a opportunity of growth and transformation in the healthiest way possible, you need to be honest. You need to be honest with those you're in relationship with, which might well cause a rupture, and the stabbing motion of cleansing the relationships out of your life, you know, that aren't serving you. It could be being honest with yourself, that you're afraid of what's going to happen if you take this path. And it also could be that idea that you are the one in control. The chariot, you're the driver. So you don't get to be a victim anymore. You don't get to have victim thinking. You don't get to tell yourself there's no way it can happen because of whatever hang up you have, of whatever hurt in the past you have experienced. You are the one who is able to move through the world with your inspiration, with your service, with your spiritual wisdom, whatever it is that is emerging in your heart. You're the one that's the steward of it, and it's nobody else's responsibility. So that's what I'm getting for that justice card is you need to be really honest with yourself. And that can be really, really hard. That can be the most painful thing in the world. But if you get honest with yourself, the future's so bright. I mean, it's literally sun, lightning, fire. This is beautiful. And one thing before I pull the spirit animal cards, I did want to point out that, we have the birds are the same birds, but these are the new relationships. There's 3 here. There's 3 sticks. These are the 3 really is coming to me. The 3 relationships. You need 3 solid relationships, 3 bucket men, 3 allies, and the death of the old allies replaced by the 3. That's just coming up before I pull the spirit animal cards. Just wanted to point that out because before I moved on, there was just something pulling me to tell you that. So, 3. Okay, let's see what spirit animal wants to join you energetically on this journey. I'm curious if you have any hopes or desires, because sometimes people have this hope, I want to be a lion or, whatever, even though I have no idea, what that means. It's just I like lions and stuff. And in this case, you, my friend, have received the cheetah. Cheetah says, hey, let's go. I'm ready. Move fast, take action. But with that message, it's also saying, well, let me show you. I don't know if you probably can see it, but notice where the sun is radiating. It's not shining on the cheetah because the light radiates from inside the cheetah. This is that message I was saying before about this, you being the sun. And the sun and the sun and the fire and the lightning. I mean, you are the sun. You attract your passion is going to attract an audience in September. That's what I'm seeing the cheetah is telling you. But only if you stay connected to purpose and your why. If you understand your why, you will attract an audience. You will have light emitting from yourself that is so attractive to the people who need it that you will be like this sun with the 3 birds sitting around it. They are just watching. You don't have to even do anything special because you're just so connected to who you are and what your purpose is and why you're doing the service that you're doing that you will attract an audience. It will succeed. The cheetah at its best says, I will achieve anything as long as I'm connected to purpose. Now I want to send you with one more ally, a little bit of elder wisdom, a spirit guide from our ancestral knowledge, just to see who and what they need to say, as you are reinforcing whatever this new spiritual journey, this new service journey is. Broken arrow. Now in the, I believe, Native American tradition, there was the tradition that to end conflict, to show a sign of peace, they took the weapon and broke it because it was no longer usable. They were choosing peace. And it says here, embrace the energy of peace. So when we add that to your spread, it tells me that you've been defensive. It tells me that something has happened to you that's blocking you from this future because you feel a need to defend yourself, that you feel unsafe, that if you were to express what is really going on or what has happened and move forward in this new call to adventure, that you're afraid of it because you're afraid to be attacked. So you have these walls built up that are blocking your ability to shine. Like when you think about defensiveness, if those walls are high enough, I don't care how bright the light inside is, it will never reach outside of those walls. So September for you is very much a death and a deconstruction of those defenses so that you can let the inner light radiate from yourself and, forget who thinks about what. Like this is your connection to purpose, your connection to your why, letting that light shine and letting whoever needs that light come to you. Because not everyone's gonna. Like that's just unrealistic if we believe that everyone can benefit. And if all we see is the people who don't want what we have to offer, we quit, right? Like we will quit, but your energy in September is no, I'm not going to quit. I am surrendering this defensive energy because I'm going to invest in the healthy relationships, and I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let go of my need to be liked. I'm going to accept that this new calling, this spiritual surge, is going to make some people uncomfortable, but I'm going to be a light to other people and serve them in the way that I can. So that's my September reading for you. I feel very hopeful for you. This is going to be an exciting month, and I just hope that you can take this into whatever realm you're walking into and let it elevate you into becoming that light within a small or large group. Doesn't matter, because you are a light. You have it inside, and it's time to let people see it. All right, now we're going to move on to group number 3. King, warrior, magician, and what's up with the lover? Let's see what group 3's lover house has to teach us. You. Okay, I'm going to set these aside because I'm going to pull some more cards later for further clarification. So let's do this one at a time, unless something tells me not to, and do them all at once. But your king house is the Ace of Wands inverted. Remember, to me it's inverted, to you it is not. But the Ace of Wands upright is all about fast-moving divine inspiration. This is creativity. This is adaptability. This is new, and it's coming in fast, and it's going to be a surprise. But inverted, you're not going to trust it. You don't know how to take action on it. So this means in September, you're going to have in your king house, whether it's expression, whether it's creativity, whether it is bestowing blessings, being generous, serving, you're going to have an idea, but you're not going to know how to implement it. You're going to be a little confused on what idea this is, what action to take. You'll know the idea. It's going to come in pretty fast. It's going to be very, very like, oh, this is how I build my kingdom. This is what it looks like. And then you're going to go, but how? I don't know how to do this. Now let's go to your warrior house. Hey, okay, we'll do this. 2 of Swords. This factors into that Ace of Wands. This is a card of indecision. You know, she's blind and all, you know, with a blindfold, but she has 2 swords. So there's two decisions that you're failing to make, and this could be the action you need to take in your warrior house to bring clarity and bring action to your warrior or your king house. And also you can notice the moon in the back there. The moon is intuition, and the water is also, you know, your unconscious mind and your intuition. So you're going to need to trust it. So I'm going to pull 2 cards and see if there's a little tie in between what these 2 things are that will help you, that you're deciding, you're not deciding. So it's not that you don't know what to choose. It's that you're just kind of frozen. That's what the vibe I get is you're just frozen in a not knowing, and you're not taking action. So choice 1, or what you need to do. In this case, it'd be like what you need to connect with to unlock your warrior house. That's the way I look at the inverted 2 of Swords, is not what is my decision, but what do I need to bring in energetically to be able to make moves and make progress. Okay, well, that was a little bit fighty for me. Okay, decision 1, or energetic opportunity 1, is the Sun. Number 2 is the 7 of Pentacles. Okay. So on one hand, you know, there is this energy of the Sun, which is new birth. It's wonderful. It's joy. It's that childlike joy of, you know, you could look at it almost like the garden phase. You know, there's this stability, there's this security, everything has prospered, and it's very comfortable, and it's, I mean, it's warm, you're in the sun, and it's wonderful. But on the other side, you have the 7 of Pentacles, which is, it's toil. It's this idea that, you know, there is a moment that needs to be taken to pause and reflect. So to unlock this ability to decide when that idea comes in your king house, you need to take September some time to really reflect on where you were, where you are now and where you go, because you've made a lot of progress. This is what this is saying, is you're in this garden phase, right? You're literally in a garden, and your physical health or your financial stability, something in your physical world, you've been manifesting, you've been working on. And you need to take stock of how far you've come. And it also doesn't mean that you're there, like you're at the destination, because there is no destination. It's a journey. But at the same time, take stock of it. I mean, this is a good haul. You're tired. You've been working hard. So take a moment. You're in the garden. Take a look at what you've amassed, what you've been able to achieve in this physical world, in your warrior house, through decisive action, through taking care of yourself, through boundary setting, and how far you've come. And realize that, man, as tired as I am, I know there's so much more I'm called to do. Because without taking appreciation of where you've come from and where you are now, it's hard to keep going forward, because you're just constantly beating yourself up about where you are lacking. And it's time for you to take stock through very strong and intentional action of reflecting on where you are now and where you can go, so that you're free to not use shame as a driver to say this new idea can't happen because I'm not where I need to be to take advantage of it and act on it. No, you've made progress. You're ready to take action. You just need to take stock of where you've come from and synthesize that so you believe in yourself, so you can take further action. Okay, jumping to the Magician, we have the Seven of Wands inverted. This is, a card of conflict. I don't know if you can see it, but he has two different shoes on. So it's kind of speaking to this hasty decision making. And this, to me, what it's telling is that you're engaging in some unnecessary conflict through your intellect, through your knowledge base. You are maybe playing a little bit trickster. You're in Magician's shadow in September. So be careful, because you've already got the high ground. You don't need to engage in this conflict because you have the high ground. These people can't hurt you. These ideas can't hurt you. There is no threat except for the one that you make up in your head. And then the Lover House, the King of Wands. Okay, so the King of Wands, he is the master of the wand suit, sitting on his throne. He is capable. He is confident. He is compassionate. He is in touch with his creativity. He doesn't need to fight. So really what I'm seeing here is that your Lover House is going to be a strength for you. Your ability to connect and serve and receive this new idea whenever it comes is going to be rooted and connected with your Lover House. And that lover energy is already offering itself to your warrior so that you can take action, because the lover tells you, hey, be in the garden, enjoy it, take stock and appreciate what you have and where you've come from, and stop fighting. Like, we're the King of Wands. Like, we are the master of the suit, so you don't need to use the wand to fight other people. You can fight to learn, and when it's inverted, this can be a fight also, a call to self-learning and to continue your growth journey. But without that connection of a deeper purpose and a why, and and an appreciation of where we've come from, it's going to be hard. It's going to feel like a fight. But the more you can connect in compassion to yourself and to your creativity and to your ability to express and give blessing and serve people, you're going to open up a whole lot of great opportunity, because it's coming in September. It's coming, and it's going to come fast. It's going to be a surprise too. Let's get a card each. We already got, obviously, 2 extras for your warrior, but we're going to start with King, because we haven't done anything for King, have we? Oh, here's your King card. I'm just going to pull the others. I'm going to jump to your Magician for a little bit more clarity, because we did get a good amount for your warrior. Here is your Magician and Lover. Let's get a little bit more information for your Lover House, or for the whole totality of this this endeavor. Oh, hello, Lover. That's going to be a fun one. And I'm going to pull one more card now, just so I don't do it later, but it's going to be your Man in Full, your Unifier. That's going to kind of tie this message all together. And there it is. So I'm going to set it off to the side there, because I don't want to cover it yet. King, what do we got? Hey, how about that? Queen of Wands. Okay. So not only do we have the King of Wands in Lover House, but we have the Queen of Wands in your King House and the Ace of Wands in the King House. So this further solidifies the idea of relationships and creativity and expression. Now, this idea, when it comes to you, it's important for you to see these two. This is the master of the wand suit. This is the influencer of the wand suit. The master is in control. Solid lover house. This is masculine energy in your lover house. And that masculine energy isn't sensitivity like, the very soft nature, but it's bringing a little bit of masculinity to how you love those around you and how you love yourself. But the feminine quality is the influencer of the suit. So this is the influence of creativity. This new idea is going to need you to soften a bit and to use it as a way to influence your inner spirit. The Queen of Wands is also a person who wants relationship. So not only do we have the king in the relationship house, but we have the queen saying, no, we need to carry these relationships that we're establishing into our Ace of Wands, Queen, King house. So taking those relationships, investing in them, and bringing them into this new adventure, this new idea, is going to be part of your process in September. And the Magician, speaking of ideas, we have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is a cup of not a cup. It's a card of indecision. It's a card of overwhelm, of also new ideas. It's inverted in this spread, so that means it's leaning more towards the overwhelm, and that fits right in with your seven. Look at, they're both sevens. Sevens in your Magician house is definitely a card of spirituality, or definitely a number of spirituality, but what I see here is the misunderstanding of the struggle, of you're fighting the wrong fight in your mind, in your spiritual practice. You're afraid of something that you shouldn't be afraid of. So nothing is here to harm you. It's here to grow you. Your ideas are not going to scare you. They're not here to harm you. They're here to help you. And when you process that, I feel like this idea won't be scary. Right now, this idea, when it comes, if you don't embrace this message, it's going to scare you too much that you won't take action on it. Because you'll see, all that's possible, kingdom building, victory, money, whatever. But you have the snake and the dragon, so that's kind of scary. And he's a little bit like, whoa, this is a lot of information. And so connect with that and stop seeing things as a fight in your mind and in your intellect, and start embracing the call for transformation to fuel the rest of this month for you, for September. The Lover House, inverted Death. That is interesting. What that makes me feel in this moment, what message I'm getting, is the way you're currently in your lover house is not healthy, and it needs to change. Now, this King of Wands might be the change. You might be, what it's coming up in me is overly connected to some of that lover energy. Maybe it's a over need to be liked. Maybe it's an oversensitivity. Maybe it's victim thinking. But the King of Wands wants you to firm up a little bit in that house, in the relationships, in your ability to connect with the world, wants you to firm up a little bit. Because right now you're a little bit maybe overly sensitive, like I said, and that needs to die. That needs to change. So the way your lover house was in August needs to shift and change. And that can be a growth too. I mean, it is growth. Like, it's not a death and a only death. It's a call to growth. So growing in your lover house with a little bit more firmness, with a little bit more boundary setting, so you can be more decisive because you're more secure in who you are. And these ideas won't be scary then, because you'll be looking at them from a healthier, balanced, more assertive position in lover. And the lover is also a house that sees the connections, the greater underlying meaning in things. So don't let that sensitivity influence how scary something is. Be a little bit more rational, a little less heart, a little bit more head, a little bit more mastery, and a little less sensitivity as you're engaging with these new ideas. And the final card is your unifying card. And Justice is the unifying card, is the Man in Full card. And as I was just saying, the Justice card factors into that. It's appropriate judgment. It's looking at things as they are, not as the way that they necessarily feel intuitively. I'm big into intuition, but maybe you've been too big into letting your heart lead, and you need to be a little bit more rational and a little less impulsive in your quick, rash decision making. Really look at the situations. Look at the truth of the situation, and it might not be what you think it is. So you really have to question that. Are you fighting for the wrong reason? Is this a just fight, or are you already claiming victory? Is your vision that comes in really scary? Like, is it really scary, or is it uncomfortable? So you really need to get in touch with that. And that's going to be a masculine energy for you, is to really look at it and let that old way of, just being rash and jumping into decisions and labeling things, and really being assertive and saying, no, we're a master of this. I know how to look at the situation, and I'm not going to take my first thought. I'm going to sit with it and really ask myself, is this scary? Am I in danger? Or am I just letting fear lead? So that's what I see there. And I'd like to take 2 more cards, a spirit guide of an animal sort and a spirit guide of ancestral wisdom. So first, let's get a spirit animal to join you in this, because who doesn't like traveling with a companion, right? Group 3, who is your spirit animal that wants to hop out with you? This one. Okay. The firefly. Now, this firefly is a bright light, but it's not sustainable. So energetically, what it's calling you to know is that this new idea, you don't have a ton of time to sit and think about it. You have to, not hem and haw for 3 weeks, because if you do, the firefly is saying it's gone. Like, the passion you have for it and the drive you have for it, or the opportunity, the window will close if you spend 3 weeks thinking about this. Like, give yourself a day or two when the inspiration comes to, if you need to really look at this stuff and say, is it scary? Is it safe? Be rational. Don't be rash, but also don't be slow. Like, make decisive action. We don't want you to be indecisive. You need to take this lesson here so that when the firefly is like, hey, this is the thing, illuminated light, you don't spend too much time, because you've already done the work to connect with that reality of, we're going to be decisive. We're not going to just be frozen because we don't know what to do and we're afraid of whatever it is, because we've let that old story die. And we've brought in the king into the lover house to give it a little bit more force, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more confidence, to be a little bit more rational, but still creative, because the firefly is also all about creativity and inspiration. So we have tons of that. All the wands are creativity, it's inspiration, it's passion. So we're seeing a lot of wands in those houses. We got the king and the queen and the ace. Like, that's mastery. That's mastery and influence. And so I want to bring one more partner, and that would be your ancestral wisdom card. What is the ancestral wisdom that you need to have the energetic vibe of on this September journey as we enter fall? The traveler. Move in a new direction. This factors, I don't know if it's, anyway, traveler, move in a new direction. Exactly. That makes complete sense. Be rational. Let the old stories die. Let the old energy that you had in your lover house firm up a little bit. It's a new direction, so that you aren't afraid. You don't react out of fear and pushing things away as your go-to. Move in the direction of the light, of the new idea when it comes. Don't be indecisive. Be decisive, but don't be rash, but don't be slow. So take your time to really weigh these options, because in the past, I get the feeling that you've either been too rash or you've been resistant. I'm leaning more towards resistant. I'm leaning towards your energy that needs to shift, is to stop pushing things away and saying why they won't work, why they are bad, why they are scary, and bring them closer and really look at them. to not be so cynical, but to be more open. And so that's what the new direction I'm seeing in your September is necessary. And if you do that, when the new idea comes, and it will come fast, and it will be surprising, and it might not be even close to what you think it's going to be, but you'll be able to take it because you'll weigh it appropriately. You'll be fair and just in your decision to go or to not go in that direction. All right. So thank you. And hopefully you got some stuff you can pull from that. And we're going to move on to group number 4. Group 4. King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. Wants to come play King. Group number 4, I did a little something different. I felt like turning all of your cards open. I've been doing turning them open. How about over? That'd be better, right? Turning them over, and I've been doing it one at a time. But I just felt like I needed to turn all of these over and get the whole picture right away. And I feel really kind of glad that I did, because we have an interesting spread here. We've got a couple of pentacles. We have the Justice inverted and the 5 of Wands. So, the way this works, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. I'll start with the King house. Justice inverted. So it looks like this to me. The Justice card is about balance and fairness. And the message that I'm getting, the vibe, the feel that I'm getting is that you're not, in your King house, being fully honest with yourself. I think the way that this is manifesting is you're in shadow. Your king is in shadow, and that shows up as the tyrant or the petty prince or the high chair tyrant, or basically there's a sense that you don't want to give up your freedom. There's an area in your life that you do not want to bound yourself in. You want to stay kind of floating in the waves of chaos. You don't want a structure. You don't want to be told what to do, which is kind of what I'm feeling on this side of your spread is. And with that, also in your Warrior, 5 of Wands is the card of conflict. I mean, you can see it's people fighting with sticks, and they're from all different walks of life, because each one of these hands is different. It's not that they're all on the same team. This is, for me, it means new ideas, people with differing opinions. And whenever we bring in people who have differing opinions, it threatens to change us. And I feel like your king is resisting that change because he doesn't want to be open. This factors in further into your Lover house and your Magician. And what I'm saying with that is the Magician, the Page of Pentacles inverted, when it's upright like this is the offering of new idea. This is the offering of new opportunity. But inverted, it means the resistance of that. And so what I'm seeing in your Magician house is you're resisting that call to growth, that you're resisting this new idea in September that could ultimately lead to you elevating and moving that needle forward in a really positive, healthy direction in your spiritual practice, in your intellect, in your business, whatever it is. It's resisting because it's a new idea from a perspective that you wouldn't normally. I mean, hell, it could be that you don't like tarot readings and I'm doing a tarot reading and you're like, yeah, this isn't cool, man. Like, I don't like it. You know, this could be a new idea. I mean, it's as simple as that. Maybe I'm the blue and yellow glove and you're the orange one. And we're like, and you have all the other people with different ideas and you're like, I don't like it. I want my way. And the inverted Lover house card, the 3 of Pentacles, it speaks to that same thing. It speaks to collaboration. In other decks, there's this stonemason, and then there's people watching and giving guidance. So the Lover house having this card being inverted, it tells me that there is a resistance to relationship. You're not trusting relationship. You're averse to them. Your Lover house is kind of in the dark. You know, there's not a lot of light in this building, but when I see it inverted like that, it just feels very dark. It feels very dead. Like this stonemason is actually stone. There's no life blood flowing through him. But if you mute that, what happens is you don't trust new ideas because you don't feel like your ability to connect with people. So I see a really strong call for your Lover house to open and to be connected with, to find the passion, to find reconnection with people that are different from yourself. You are resisting, it feels like, different people, and maybe you're a lover resisting a warrior, you're a warrior resisting a lover. That's one of the vibes that I get here more strong, is that you're a warrior who's resisting love, that's resisting connection, resisting sensitivity. And because of that, you are avoiding a new idea, a new opportunity, a new direction, because you don't want to give up the freedom of who you are and what you are, like just acting without accountability. This is also a card of accountability. When it's inverted, it means that you don't have the accountability. So that's the vibe I'm getting, and I'd like to get further clarification by putting another card on each house. Well, we got 3 right off the bat. So we have King, Warrior, Magician, and I got 1 more for the Lover. You know, the weird thing is that this has happened almost every time, is the 3 cards pop out and then the Lover is like the last to come online. And I wonder what the message is there for everybody. Anyway, that was a little tangent. Only you get that. That's special. You know, only you got that little bit. Okay, let's do the same thing. Let's turn all of them over. All right, let's look at this. Starting in the King house. The page of, well, this is rods, page of rods, but it's, I call it the page of wands. All right, so the page is bringing in a new creative idea. It is, like I said, it's inverted. So again, there's a resistance of that. There's a resistance of new opportunity that I feel you don't want to open to because of the way you've been doing life. It might be comfortable for you, even if you're making others uncomfortable, even if you really are uncomfortable, you just don't want to admit it, you know, because you've shut off this Lover house. If you were to really open up that Lover house, you would see that you feel alone, that you feel a lack of connection, and that would be really uncomfortable. So I feel like there's a resistance there. And in your Warrior house, we got the 10 of Swords, which is all about ending. I mean, we have the 5 of Wands or rods being in conflict, and that conflict in September is ending, and it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you your way of doing life up to this point, because you're either going to be called to account to say, you know, I was wrong. Straight up, I was being selfish. And that has to die. That winter has to come so that I can see the sun rise and I can take the new opportunities, because my new opportunity is free of conflict in that negative sense. It's an inner conflict. It's a, you know, that's what the Magician house is showing here, is the 7 of Wands inverted means conflict. This being inverted means inner conflict. So there's a fight that needs to occur with your belief system, with your ideologies, with the way you've been looking at the world, because you're resisting new growth. You're resisting new opportunity that's going to be really good for you. But you need to internally battle with the beliefs that you have, the old stories that need to die. And in your Lover house, this is further represented by the Empress. The Empress is the mother. This is the mother of the tarot cards, of the tarot deck. What the mother calls us to do is to mother ourselves. And it's inverted. So that means self. It doesn't mean, if it was upright, it means that you might be a more motherly energy to somebody else. But in September, you're being called to mother yourself, to reopen this house, to reopen and reconnect with your lover in a deeper way. That is, you know, through the divine feminine. There's a crescent moon her foot is on. You can see that, which is intuition. That's an inner knowing. And you will blossom in that house if you go inside and reconnect with your intuition. And that is a very motherly thing. It's a very sensitive, compassionate, like, you got to be nice to yourself. And you got to drop the conflict. Like, you're going to fight enough in your intellect to grow, but you can't fight if you have no heart. Without the connection to your heart, the fight becomes this, and that death will not be positive. I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, everything has a positive and a negative. This usually has a sunrise in it, so it's like the storm is ending, but this is straight up winter. This is the death and grief of something. And yes, positivity comes out of that, but this is showing like a real death of an old way of being. And that death is this isolation or this lack of connectivity to the heart. And when you do that, you will fight intellectually to grow instead of to smash. You will go inside instead of fighting those around you. You will fight for growth inside yourself, which is amazing. And then you'll be able to see the opportunities for what they are, as opportunities that are here to grow you and your kingdom. And unfortunately, that self-honesty is part of that fight, right? Like we have, there's the card, the unifier. We have the need to be really honest so that we can be a steward of these new ideas, so that we can take advantage of the new opportunities. And the unifier card is the 3 of Wands, or rods. And this makes sense. If you do all of that, you get the 3 of Wands, which is a new adventure. You have done everything that you need to. In September, you will do the things that you need to prepare yourself for the new adventure. You, my friend, are ready at the end of September to go forth in a new direction. And that is a really positive thing. You see the pitfalls, you know the trials, you know the tribulations. They're real. They're not these fake fights. They're not just defensiveness. This is about you connecting and knowing where you need to go, taking the opportunity and looking and knowing what risks lie ahead. And I want to give you a little bit of energy from a spirit animal, because you'll need a traveling companion, and you'll need people. Like the 3 of Pentacles is all about collaboration. As you open up your lover and you find those people, you're going to have those traveling companions. And also the divine feminine doesn't mean soft. It doesn't mean you're going to have to wear a dress in any way. It just means that you have to have that self-compassion, that intuition. Nightingale. Okay. The nightingale is a communicator of beautiful song. This nightingale, I'm going to leave it so you can see it this way, sings freely, does not care what others think, but it does so with kindness and beauty. And that is where this comes in. Like, I think you speak freely, but I don't think it's always with kindness. And so there's a level of kindness that needs to enter into your world, into your voice, through this compassion, through your lover house. The way you're expressing yourself, the way you're talking to yourself needs to change. I'm really feeling a strong message that the way you talk to yourself needs to change, because I think you're pretty much judging yourself without the balance of truth and love. You are not extending yourself love, so you're being incredibly hard on yourself. You're almost unworthy of these opportunities when they come to you. You just deny. You have 2 pages, 2 messengers, 2 holders of the energy, both of financial and physical benefit and of creativity and passion. So they're holding the energy for you, but you're so damn negative to yourself that you won't even accept that you're worthy of it. So the nightingale is calling you to sing a better song to yourself and to those around you. And as I go on to the Elder Wisdom card, I'm really focused on what's the clarification. Is there more message about if this is how you're treating others or how you're treating yourself? Because as I go, I feel like there's a really strong that if you treat others this way, it's because you're treating yourself the same way. And that's the key, I think, to all of this, is that nightingale song. It's internal. You're being really mean to yourself. And if you hurt somebody else, it's because you're hurting yourself. So let's get an ancestor to come with. Who's coming forward to help group number 4 on this September adventure of inner growth? The stag. Now this card is one that is calling you to thriving. The stag is bringing the energy of thriving. And this means that grace is being offered to you. And this further clarifies to me that this whole spread is really speaking to extending grace to others and to yourself. This stag was worshipped by the Native Americans because it provided food, it provided clothing, it had everything it needed. So there's abundance in that. There's grace and connection and compassion. And it says trust and thrive, and thriving is abundance. And this call to shift to an abundance mindset starts with self-love. And if you love yourself, you can love others. And so unlocking that truth in the lover house is going to be a big thing for you. Learning to sing with a pleasanter voice, a kinder voice, not that your voice is annoying. It's because your voice is singing a little bit of a gruff song, I think. And you're singing to yourself and you're casting spells that don't allow you to thrive. And so that's your call to adventure in September, I think, is being a little kinder to yourself so that you can bring the self-worth to take advantage of the opportunities. I see a couple of opportunities coming your way in September. And if you can develop that self-love and let go of that and kill off that inner struggle and the outer fighting that has been coming up recently, you will be able to take the opportunity. So I hope there was some actionable movement there that you can take. And thank you for joining me. Hope to see you again. And we're going to jump into group 5. I'm really interested in group 5 because I typically don't do 5 groups. I typically do 4. So I'm curious what this one's going to have because this is the first time I've ever done 5. So thank you for being a guinea pig on this journey. King, warrior. Let's get some magician and lover, shall we? And find out what wonderful message Spirit has for you in September in your hero's journey through the houses. What do we got? And lover. Okay, let's get into it. We've got the 2 of Swords in your King house. We have the 9 of Swords in your warrior, the 10 of Swords in your magician, and Temperance in your lover. Okay. So, King house, inverted 2, inverted 2 of Swords. The 2 of Swords is indecision. When it's inverted, it means that you're not stuck between 2 things, but you don't even know how to be stuck between 2 things. There's just maybe a freezing in your decisiveness. And we can pull 2 cards. We'll do that now because we might as well to see what maybe that indecision is. Because, I mean, look at this. We have 3 cards that are swords. And swords are decisiveness. They are of the mind. So I see a lot of mental growth and struggle for your September. So let's see if we can get clarification immediately on the King house of what maybe needs to shift for you to unlock that ability to decide as opportunities come. That one flexed, so that'll be interesting. We have the Knave of Cups, which in other decks is the Page of Cups. Come here. And the 9 of Wands. Okay, so so what I'm seeing, inverted Knave of Cups, or the Page of Cups, is the holder of creativity, of relationship, of love. So one element of your King house being locked, because I see your King house being locked in September, is to unlock it, you need to do a little bit of self-love. You need to connect and to get in touch with your lover house. I feel the answer to your King is going to be solving your lover. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is the 9 of Wands. And the 9 of Wands is about the ending of conflict. This was a struggle. This left you tired in your King house. Something in the last month or in the last year, I don't know how long ago, but you went through something that left you very tired. And it was an arduous journey. So now you're kind of a little bit reserved. You're a little bit cautious about relationships. And I think when we get to your lover house, I think there's been some spiritual bypass, some self-medicating that has gone into that has been preventing you from getting into touch with real spirit, with real love, with real connection, because something burned you as you were expressing yourself, as you were taking a new adventure in business, but your ability to connect was cut off. And so September, that continues if we don't deal with it, okay? The 9 of Swords in your warrior house speaks to mental fear. This, in the physical world, could mean that in your warrior house, you're not getting good sleep, that there are nightmares, that it feels like something is coming up in you that has been freezing you, and it's been mental. It's been in your head. That's the other key part, is this this struggle that you've been going through that maybe has locked up your king house has been all in your head. This could be from, a physical injury that you experienced that has robbed you of confidence. This could be a physical experience, a physical relationship that has burned you, that has robbed you of confidence and has caused you to want to numb because you're just afraid and you're not getting good sleep. It's bothering you. It's taking your waking thoughts, but it's all up here. You're suffering more in your mind than you are in real life currently. And you need to take the action to rectify this because, your mind is just, I feel like your mind is just spinning. And the 10 of Swords in your Magician house speaks to this as well. It speaks to the mental death of something because all of these swords are stabbing into the one that's fallen. And it's time for something to go, for your mind to shut off, and in a healthy way. So really what I'm feeling here is you're locked in all three of your houses, all three of these houses. You are locked from experiencing the fullness of joy that all of the light can offer you. And when we find this Temperance card inverted in your lover house, to me, this house is wide open, but unfortunately with this inverted, it speaks more to self-medication. It speaks to overindulgence. It speaks to spiritual bypass in the sense of drink, of food, of porn, of whatever coping mechanism you use to avoid the pain that you're experiencing in your mind. And to overcome that, something in your mental process, I mean, it doesn't even have to be necessarily a Magician house, like your spiritual beliefs, your educational beliefs, like the competency that you have needs to be taken down a notch and realize that you have to learn and something needs to change. That's what I'm seeing here in your Magician house, is becoming aware that something needs to change because you're spiritually bypassing, and it's locking all of your houses and all of the good that is trying to occur, the forward progress and the energetic love and compassion that your heart is trying to remind you is still there. So I want to get some clarification on the other houses like we did for the king. So first we'll start with the warrior. This might be a message you need to unlock the warrior. This might be further clarification of why your warrior is feeling the way it is. I don't know what Spirit wants to say, but we'll just see. And this is the same for your magician, and we'll get one more for lover, which, really feels like the crux of it, because I feel... Okay, what do you want? I feel like your lover house has been your go-to of self-medicating to keep the journey locked from occurring. So we did your king. Now let's do your magician, your warrior, the 8 of coins. Well, the 8 of coins inverted, also the 8 of pentacles in other decks, speaks to perfectionism. It speaks to the work of developing the self. But it also, in this spread, how it talks to their houses, I really feel it's telling you your energy is misdirected. The way you're physically moving through this world is misdirected. And when we look at the lover house, to me, it's the past, and the mental struggles that you're going through are causing you to physically manifest in a way that is spiritual bypass, that's preventing you from stepping into the next evolution of who you are. So September, you're going to be battling that. I really believe that you're going to be battling that reality, whether you know it or not, that you're going to want to self-medicate. You're going to want to do the coping mechanisms that keep you small because you're afraid to deal with that past thing, that relationship, that experience, whatever it is going to challenge you to want to go into old behavior or continue the path that you are, which is blocking and preventing you from that growth and that message of the 4 of Wands in the Magician house. Mental stability. I mean, in the Magician house, what I'm seeing here is your 10 of Swords killing off of a false belief that you have, a limiting belief that is keeping you small, that is keeping you stuck. And then when you do It's a diamond falling from the sky. It's roses in the garden. It's 4, which is stability. It's celebration. So when you make that realization and unlock that, there's going to be cause for celebration. And that is going to move you in such a positive direction to where I see these cards are going, this will be right way up, and this will still be solid, because you'll have seen all of the pain, all of the stress, and you'll know where you're going. And so you'll have learned so much from that process. It's incredibly encouraging. And the Knight of Cups reversed in your lover house, it speaks to creative surprise. You know, the knave of cups, the knave or the page of cups in your king is reflected in the Knight of Cups in your lover. Holder of energy, deliverer of a message. And so that delivery of the message right now is an internal one. And that internal message is, don't overindulge. You know, don't do it. Instead, reconnect with the majesty and the mystery. This also speaks to dreams. Ask yourself for your subconscious mind, for spirit, for God, to communicate with you in a dream. Ask for messages to be given to you about healing in a dream. And the 9 of Swords speaks to dreams that, you know, you might be having nightmares or you might be about to have some, but ask if it comes to give you guidance and wisdom into what that is, because the Knight of Cups is a deliverer of a message of emotional or spiritual or compassion or relationship, love, a message there. So being tied to temperance means don't overindulge. Seek healthier spiritual means and creative solutions and inspiration and that youthful energy versus the adult things. Like reconnect with that dream aspect of yourself. And I want to pull one more card from the tarot deck. That is the Unifier. That is the Man in Full card. And see what ties this message together, what final message Spirit has. You know, it could be any number of things, but it will unify the concepts here. What does Spirit want to bring forth before we get into Spirit Animal and Elder Wisdom? The Tower. Ooh, doggy. The Tower, look at that scene. What does that tell you intuitively? Scared? A little nerve-wracking? A little intense, right? Okay, well, let's talk about it. As a unifying card, I don't know what you felt, but what I feel is this is telling you the message that I've given so far is going to be brought to a head quickly, and you have a moment to decide to jump from the old way into the new. This is not death in a physical, scary sense. It can be a Ghost of Christmas Future type of vibe where we're saying, you know, if you don't make changes now, the kingdom you're creating is going to be destroyed. You know, we could look at it that way. The other way to look at it is fast action is taking place and the old way of doing things isn't working. So you're going to have to bail out of that because that tower you're living in is not your kingdom. It's a fake place. It's constructed for your own enjoyment, for your own isolation, and it needs to be destroyed. You need to leave it. That's what it's saying, is you need to leave the old ways and embrace the new, and do that through temperance, through moderation, through creativity, through death of old story, of security, and embracing new concepts and new relationships, emotional intelligence, and the stability found in looking at your journey thus far, realizing it's been hard, but you're still telling the story. You're still living the story. And everything that's happened is still an upright pole. And in some decks, they're all upright. The wands are all upright. So it's like, even though there's lots of stuff that's going on, a lot of conflict, everything is still a teacher. Everything is still being brought forward and is moving forward. Just take a moment to breathe, do some CPR, but then reflect and connect in a healthy, not self-damaging, not shameful way. Otherwise, you'll be back into your self-medicating routines. And to help you with that, I want to give you a spirit animal on the journey. First, to see who wants to come and help you out and keep you on the path to growth. The lizard is bringing you a message of creativity. And that's kind of what the overarching theme has been a need for creativity in certain ways. I think I've brought it up a couple times. Creative inspiration, creativity. Wands are creative because there's new growth, stability. All of this could be unlocked with some creative expression. So, not being elusive, not being slippery, not being indecisive, but really connecting with your creativity to unlock your heart here to influence the rest of this. So it's a new pivot. And maybe that means that you need to get into some kind of creative space, art, poetry, anything like that could be a very helpful thing for you to unlock the lover. So I really encourage you. The lizard is with you, saying now is the time to get creative. And hey, who else? That is even looking at the indecisiveness and almost looking at the rose that's in between that. Because if you get decisive, if you decide to get out of the tower and go, then I think that rose will bloom and you will find new depths of creativity and self-love. And an ancestor that wants to come along with you on this to bring you their wisdom, because we are given access to the wealth of knowledge of our ancestors for a long, long time, is Lord. It says the card of taking charge in healthy ways. Take charge with authority. This is decisiveness. This is taking charge of your life, taking this message, getting out of that tower and starting a new path. That's incredibly encouraging. It's confidence. There's green, there's floral, there's nature. It's not a crown of metal and cold steel. It's wood. It's natural. It's connected to creativity. It's a connection to the land. Get out in nature, reconnect with your heart so that these metal objects can soften, like your decisiveness can be brought into health and not into harm. So take charge of your adventure in September. I think this is what they want you to do, is take a different kind of charge. Don't do it the way you've been doing it. Do something new that involves more creativity and compassion, but involves the death of old story and finding the ways that you're spiritually bypassing, the ways that you're overindulging, and figuring out why. Why am I doing this? And if the nightmares come in transition, whenever that might happen, whenever you start to get that really negative self-talk, you're being called to be compassionate. You're being called to take charge and know, like, I'm telling myself a new story. I'm telling myself that the old ways are dead and gone. In the Ten of Swords, the old ways are dead and gone. I am moving through this world in an empowered, getting away from the old through radical action, through fast, quick action, not being indecisive, but embracing where I've been, where I'm going, and that I am powerful everything that I've been through because I've processed it. And also, I hold the energy that I need. I don't need it from other people. I need support and good relationships, but I have everything I need. You have everything you need to take this journey to the next level in September, as long as you stop numbing and stop spiritually bypassing. And that's going to be through radical action, taking charge, and believing that you're worth it. So that is what I see for September. Incredibly positive, but it's going to be challenging for you. But I see real growth, real transformation occurring. And I want to thank everybody. I don't know who is still here, who has clicked on this to see the ending, but I really appreciate this time together. And I hope to do it more, and just really appreciate you guys being with me on my journey as I continue to invest in things that I love and open up my own spirituality through this process of serving you guys. So thank you. And until next time, journey well, my friends. And remember, you're the hero of your story.